The massive alien vessels appeared without warning, their dark hulls blotting out the stars as they positioned themselves around Earth's orbit. Commander James Harrison stood in Earth's Global Defense Center, his jaw clenched as the first transmission came through. The aliens called themselves the Nexus, and their message was clear: surrender or die. You have 24 hours to submit to Nexus authority, the alien commander's translated voice boomed through the command center. Resistance is futile. Your military capability is insignificant compared to our fleet. Choose wisely, humans. The command center erupted into chaos. Tactical screens showed over 500 alien warships, each one dwarfing Earth's largest battlecruiser. Their weapon systems were beyond anything humanity had ever encountered, and their technology seemed centuries ahead. Commander Harrison watched as the Global Defense Council assembled for what might be their final meeting. Representatives from every major military power on Earth gathered around the circular war table, their faces illuminated by the holographic displays showing the alien fleet's positions. They're not wrong about their superiority, General Wei Chen said, pointing to the tactical readouts. Their smallest support ship could probably take out our entire Pacific fleet. We have maybe 3,000 operational warships. They have technologies we can't even understand. Colonel Natalia Volkov, head of Special Weapons Division, stood up. But they don't know everything about us. Project Prometheus is ready. We've been preparing for something like this since we detected their long-range signals 3 years ago. Harrison turned to face the council. They expect us to surrender. They think we'll choose survival over freedom. But they don't understand human nature. Throughout our history, humanity has faced overwhelming odds. We've stared into the abyss of extinction multiple times, and each time we've fought back. The room fell silent as satellite feeds showed the alien ships deploying what appeared to be invasion platforms in high orbit. They were already preparing for Earth's submission, confident in their victory. If we surrender, Harrison continued, we condemn humanity to slavery, but if we fight, he activated a secure display showing hidden military installations across the globe. We've been preparing for this day. Hidden bunkers, underground factories, orbital platforms disguised as debris. We're not as defenseless as they think. General Chen leaned forward. Project Prometheus, the quantum strike capabilities, they're operational. Colonel Volkov nodded. Full tactical deployment ready in 6 hours. They won't see it coming. Their sensors can't detect quantum-shifted matter. We can hit them before they even know we're fighting back. The council members exchanged glances. The choice before them was monumental: submit to alien rule and survive as slaves, or risk everything in a war they might not win. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Harrison looked at the faces around him. These were Earth's defenders, men and women who had sworn to protect humanity. He saw fear in their eyes, but he saw something else too: determination. The choice isn't whether to fight or surrender, he declared. The choice is whether we let them dictate the terms of engagement. They think they know humanity's capabilities. They think they can predict our response. But humanity's greatest weapon has always been our unpredictability. Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Torres, head of strategic operations, stepped forward. Initial projections show we could lose up to 40% of Earth's surface infrastructure in the first wave of conflict. Billions could die. And if we surrender, Harrison asked, how many will die slowly as slaves? How many future generations will never know freedom? The council chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. The aliens had demanded Earth's surrender, offering survival in exchange for submission. But as Harrison looked around the room, he saw the same fire in every eye, the same human spirit that had driven their species to overcome every challenge in their history. General Chen stood. I move we take this to a vote, but before we do, remember this isn't just about survival. This is about who we are as a species. We've never bowed to tyranny before. I don't intend to start now. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would fight. Harrison approached the communications array, his heart pounding but his voice steady. The alien fleet loomed in the display, waiting for Earth's submission. They were about to learn a crucial lesson about human nature. This is Commander Harrison of the Earth Defense Force, he transmitted. We have received your demand for surrender. He paused, knowing his next words would echo through history. Humanity's answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not submit. And you're about to learn why throughout our history, those who demanded our surrender found only their own destruction. As he ended the transmission, alarms began blaring throughout the command center. The alien fleet was moving into attack position, exactly as expected. But beneath the surface of every continent, in hidden bases and classified facilities, humanity's true military might was awakening. They had chosen war. Now they would show the galaxy why that choice should terrify their enemies. The Nexus fleet's response to humanity's defiance was swift and brutal. Their massive ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, energy weapons charging, ready to teach humanity the price of resistance. But Earth's defenders had been waiting for this moment. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Colonel Volkov stood in the heart of Project Prometheus. The underground facility hummed with energy as thousands of quantum-shifted warheads prepared for launch. These weapons represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, missiles that could phase through solid matter, completely invisible to conventional sensors. All units report ready, Lieutenant Commander Torres announced through the secure channel. Quantum shift drives are synchronized. We have targeting solutions on 30% of their fleet. The alien ships continued their descent, their massive forms casting shadows over Earth cities. They were broadcasting their victory message on all frequencies, confident in their overwhelming superiority. That's when humanity struck back. Execute Operation Prometheus, Commander Harrison ordered from the Global Defense Center. Show them what humanity is capable of. The quantum warheads launched silently from hidden silos across the planet. They passed through mountains, buildings, and the Earth's crust as if they were ghosting through air. The Nexus fleet's advanced sensors detected nothing until it was too late. The first explosion caught the aliens completely off guard. A massive capital ship, easily the size of Manhattan, erupted in a ball of quantum fire. The chain reaction spread through its hull, tearing the mighty vessel apart from the inside. Before the Nexus could respond, more explosions bloomed across their fleet. Direct hits on 27 capital ships, Torres reported, her voice tight with controlled excitement. Their defensive shields were useless against quantum penetration, their breaking formation. The Nexus fleet scrambled to respond, their coordinated invasion turning into chaos. They had expected Earth to be defenseless, ready for conquest. Instead, they found themselves under attack by weapons they couldn't detect or defend against. Commander Harrison watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Launch Phase 2, let's show them we're just getting started. Across the globe, hidden hangars opened. Earth's real fleet emerged, not the decoy ships the aliens had detected, but advanced vessels equipped with reverse-engineered alien technology. Leading them was the EDF Vengeance, humanity's first quantum-drive battleship. Captain Michael O'Connor stood on the Vengeance's bridge, watching as his ship broke through the cloud cover. All ships form up on my position, execute attack pattern Delta. Show these bastards why humanity doesn't surrender. The Earth Defense Fleet engaged the disorganized Nexus forces. While individually smaller than the alien ships, Earth's vessels were more maneuverable and equipped with weapons the enemy never expected humans to possess. Quantum torpedoes phased through alien shields, while dimensional disruptors tore holes in their bioorganic hulls. In the Global Defense Center, General Chen monitored the battle's progress. They're pulling back, their remaining capital ships are retreating to high orbit. They're calling for reinforcements, Harrison noted, watching long-range sensors. We've bloodied their nose, but this is just the beginning. They'll be back and in greater numbers. Colonel Volkov's voice came through the command channel. Project Prometheus performed beyond expectations, but we've depleted 40% of our quantum warhead reserves. We'll need time to manufacture more. The battle raged for hours. Earth's forces pressed their advantage, driving the surprised Nexus fleet further back. But everyone knew this was only the first clash in what would be a long war. In high orbit, the Nexus command ship transmitted a new message. The alien commander's voice was no longer confident but filled with rage. You primitive species dare to challenge us? You have weapons you should not possess, technology you could not have developed. This defiance will cost you everything. Harrison stepped forward to respond, his voice steady. You demanded our surrender because you thought we were weak. Now you know better. This is just a taste of humanity's resolve. We've spent years preparing for this day. Every weapon we used was developed by human ingenuity, human determination. You thought you found an easy conquest. Instead, you've started a war you may not survive. The remaining Nexus ships retreated beyond Mars' orbit, regrouping for what would surely be a massive counterattack. But humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had bloodied the nose of a superior alien force and lived to tell about it. In the aftermath, Commander Harrison met with Earth's military leadership. "We've won the first battle," he declared, "but the real war is just beginning. They'll analyze our weapons, develop countermeasures. Next time they won't underestimate us." Colonel Volkov nodded grimly. "Then it's time to reveal our other projects. Project Prometheus was just the beginning. In facilities across the globe, we've been developing technologies that even the Nexus hasn't dreamed of." "They thought humanity would choose submission over war," Harrison said, looking at the tactical displays showing the retreating alien fleet. "Now they'll learn why that was their biggest mistake. Humanity doesn't just fight when victory is certain. We fight hardest when our backs are against the wall." As Earth's forces regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the war, one thing had become clear to both sides. The aliens had demanded Earth's surrender, expecting submission. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity had chosen war, and they would show the galaxy exactly what that choice meant. General Chen's voice cut through the command center. "Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures. The Nexus is calling in their main fleet. What we fought today was just their advance force." Harrison's jaw set in determination. "Then let them come. Humanity is ready. We've shown them we can fight. Now we'll show them we can win." 3 days after humanity's first victory, the true might of the Nexus arrived. Thousands of warships emerged from hyperspace, their massive forms darkening the space between Earth and Mars. This was no invasion force. This was an armada meant to annihilate. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, Commander Harrison stood in humanity's most secret facility, Project Olympus. Around him, massive quantum reactors powered up, their energy readings off any known scale. The facility had remained hidden for a decade, built in the most inhospitable place on Earth. "The Nexus fleet is deploying in attack formation," General Chen's voice echoed through the underwater command center. "Their energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen. They're not here to conquer anymore, they're here to exterminate." Harrison watched as holographic displays showed the alien fleet's formation. Their ships had been modified, clearly adapted to counter the quantum weapons that had proved so effective in the first battle. The Nexus had learned from their defeat, but so had humanity. "Begin phase Omega," Harrison commanded. "Tell Dr. Reynolds it's time." Deep in the facility, Dr. Julia Reynolds stood before her life's work, the Graviton Cascade Array. The massive device represented humanity's greatest scientific achievement, the ability to manipulate gravity itself. She had spent 15 years perfecting it, knowing this day would come. "Graviton Array powering up," Reynolds reported, her fingers dancing across complex control interfaces. "Warning the fleet to maintain safe distance. Once this starts, we won't be able to control exactly what gets caught in the effect." Above Earth, the Nexus fleet launched their first attack. Thousands of energy beams lanced toward the planet, powerful enough to crack the crust. But they never reached their target. Earth's orbital defense grid, hidden until now, sprang to life. Advanced shield technology, reverse-engineered from a crashed alien ship decades ago, absorbed the devastating assault. "They're launching their bioorganic weapons," TORS reported from the Global Defense Center. "Millions of self-replicating combat units heading for every major city." Harrison's voice remained steady. "Dr. Reynolds, we're out of time. Initialize the Graviton Cascade." In the Mariana Trench facility, Reynolds activated humanity's ultimate weapon. The Graviton Array hummed to life, its power drawing from the planet's core itself. Waves of gravitational force began rippling through space, invisible but unstoppable. The effect was immediate and devastating. The first wave caught the front line of the Nexus fleet. Their massive ships, despite their advanced technology, were helpless against the fundamental force of gravity itself. Metal twisted, hulls compressed, and entire vessels imploded as localized gravity wells thousands of times stronger than Earth's normal field tore them apart. "Graviton Cascade performing beyond projected parameters," Reynolds reported, her voice tight with concentration. "The Nexus ship's bioorganic components are particularly vulnerable to gravitational stress." The alien fleet's tight formation became their undoing. Ship after ship crumpled under the immense gravitational forces. Their shields, designed to stop energy and matter, were useless against the manipulation of space itself. But the Nexus weren't defeated easily. Their remaining ships adapted, spreading out to minimize the cascade's effect. From their flanking positions, they launched a new weapon, chronometric torpedoes designed to disrupt the flow of time around their targets. "They're targeting our orbital defenses," Chen warned. Their temporal weapons are creating localized time distortions. Our shields are failing. Harrison turned to his tactical display. Dr. Reynolds redirect the cascade to create a temporal barrier. Colonel Volkov launched the Prometheus reserves. All Earth defense fleet vessels execute Protocol Ragnarök. The space around Earth became a battlefield unlike anything in human history. Gravitational waves warped space itself. Quantum weapons phased through reality, and time distortion fields created pockets where seconds stretched into hours or compressed into microseconds. The Nexus commander's voice boomed through all channels, rage evident even through the translation. What are you? How do primitives like you possess such weapons? You should have surrendered when you had the chance. Harrison's response was calm but filled with steel. You still don't understand. Humanity doesn't develop weapons because we want to fight. We develop them because we refuse to be conquered. Every time you escalate this war, you'll find we're prepared. We chose to fight not because we thought victory would be easy, but because surrender is impossible for us to accept. The battle raged for hours. The graviton cascade continued to tear apart Nexus ships, while Earth's fleet engaged in close combat, using tactics that seemed to defy physics itself. Human vessels phased through enemy fire, emerged from artificial time dilation fields, and struck with weapons that ignored conventional laws of space and time. In the Mariana facility, Dr. Reynolds monitored the graviton array's power levels. The system is stable, but we're approaching critical mass. The gravity wells are starting to affect local spacetime fabric. How long can we maintain the cascade? Harrison asked. Another hour, maybe two. After that, we risk tearing holes in reality itself. Harrison nodded grimly. Then we make these hours count. General Chen, coordinate with the fleet, drive them into the cascade's kill zones. Show them why challenging humanity was their greatest mistake. The Nexus fleet, despite their overwhelming numbers, found themselves being systematically destroyed by weapons they couldn't counter and tactics they couldn't predict. Their rigid military doctrine, evolved over centuries of easy conquests, proved inadequate against humanity's innovative warfare. As the battle reached its climax, the remaining Nexus ships began to retreat, their formation in chaos. They had come expecting to find a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they found an adversary who had spent years preparing for this very moment, developing technologies that challenged the laws of physics itself. They're pulling back, Chen reported. Long-range sensors show their reinforcement fleet has halted at the edge of the solar system. Harrison watched the tactical displays, knowing this wasn't the end. They'll be back, but now they know, Earth isn't just another conquest. We're the species that looked at their ultimatum and chose war. And we're the species that was ready for it. The graviton cascade powered down, its work done. In orbit above Earth, the wreckage of thousands of Nexus ships drifted silently, a testament to humanity's resolve. They had survived the second battle, but the war was far from over. The galaxy was about to learn why demanding Earth's surrender had been the Nexus's fatal mistake. A month into the war, humanity's scientists made a breakthrough that would change everything. In a heavily fortified facility beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Reynolds and her team had been studying the wreckage of fallen Nexus ships. What they discovered in the alien technology's neural matrices would transform the conflict entirely. Their entire network is connected, Reynolds explained to the assembled military command. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of their technology, it's all linked through quantum entanglement. That's how they coordinate their massive fleets so effectively. Commander Harrison leaned forward, studying the holographic display of the Nexus command structure. And you're saying we can use this against them? Better, Reynolds smiled, activating a new display showing complex quantum calculations. We've found a way to hijack their network. Project Oracle is ready. In the weeks following humanity's defensive victory, the Nexus had withdrawn to the outer solar system, reorganizing their forces for what everyone knew would be an overwhelming assault. They had underestimated Earth twice. They wouldn't make the same mistake again. But humanity wasn't waiting for their return. In hidden shipyards across the globe, a new fleet was being prepared. These ships weren't built for defense, they were designed for invasion. The Nexus think they're the only ones who can coordinate massive fleet actions, General Chen said, reviewing the battle plans. They're about to learn how adaptable humans can be. Operation Stormbreaker launched under complete secrecy. 500 ships, each equipped with both quantum drive technology and graviton weapons, slipped out of Earth's gravity well. At their head was the newly commissioned EDF Hyperion, humanity's first true supercarrier. Captain Thomas Knight stood on the Hyperion's bridge, watching as his fleet assembled in the shadow of Jupiter. Every ship was powered down, running silent. They were waiting for the signal that would begin humanity's first major offensive. Back on Earth, Dr. Reynolds initiated Project Oracle. The quantum intrusion system activated, sending invisible tendrils of data through the Nexus fleet's neural network. For a brief moment, nothing happened. Then chaos erupted. "Their network is compromised," Reynolds reported, her voice tight with concentration. "We have access to their tactical data, their communications, everything. They're completely blind." Throughout the Nexus fleet, systems began to fail. Ships lost contact with each other. Weapon systems went offline. The mighty armada that had threatened Earth was suddenly vulnerable. "All ships, this is Captain Knight." Thomas's voice rang through the human fleet's secure channel. "Operation Stormbreaker is go. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth." The human fleet burst from their hiding place, quantum drives flaring. They struck the disorganized Nexus forces like a thunderbolt, their weapons precisely targeted thanks to the data flowing through Project Oracle. Harrison watched from Earth Command as humanity's counterattack unfolded. "They thought we'd cower behind our defenses, wait for them to regroup. Instead, we're taking the fight to them." The battle in the outer solar system was unlike anything seen before. Human ships, smaller but more agile, darted between the massive Nexus vessels. Graviton weapons tore holes in space itself, while quantum-shifted torpedoes phased through the aliens' strongest shields. But the Nexus weren't defeated easily. Even with their network compromised, they were formidable opponents. Their biological ships began adapting, developing new defenses even as they fought. "They're trying to purge their network," Reynolds warned. "Project Oracle is losing its grip. We have maybe an hour before they restore full communications." Captain Knight's voice crackled through the command channel. "Then we make this hour count. All ships execute attack pattern Omega, target their command vessels." The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, their tactics shifting faster than the Nexus could adapt. This wasn't just about destroying enemy ships, it was about sending a message. Earth wasn't just defending anymore, they were hunting. In the chaos of battle, Knight noticed something strange. Some of the Nexus ships weren't fighting back. Their crews seemed to be hesitating. "Commander Harrison," he reported, "I think we're seeing dissension in their ranks. Some of their ships are breaking formation, refusing to engage." Through Project Oracle's connection, they could hear fragments of Nexus communications. Fear had entered their voices. They had come expecting to find primitives easy to conquer. Instead, they found warriors who could turn their own technology against them. "Their entire society is built on technological superiority," Reynolds explained, analyzing the data streams. "We've shattered that belief. They're starting to question their leadership's decisions." The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was clear. The Nexus fleet was in retreat, not just tactically withdrawing but fleeing in genuine fear. Humanity had done more than win a battle, they had broken the enemy's will to fight. As the last Nexus ships disappeared into hyperspace, Captain Knight transmitted a message on all frequencies. "Remember this day, you demanded Earth's surrender, thinking us weak. Instead, you found warriors who could beat you at your own game. Run back to your empire, tell them what you found here, tell them why Earth chose war." In the aftermath, Harrison met with Earth's leadership. The tactical displays showed the Nexus fleet retreating not just from the solar system, but from this entire sector of space. "They'll be back," General Chen warned, "but not as conquerors, they'll come seeking peace." Harrison nodded, "And they'll find that humanity is willing to offer it, but on our terms. We chose war when they demanded surrender. Now we'll choose the conditions for peace." The war wasn't over, but a fundamental shift had occurred. Earth was no longer just defending against extinction. They had become a power that could strike fear into the heart of an interstellar empire. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading that change. "Prepare the fleet for pursuit," Harrison ordered. "The Nexus thought they could demand our surrender. Now we'll show them the full price of that mistake. We're taking this fight to their territory." Across Earth, new ships were already under construction. Project Oracle was being expanded, and more weapons were being developed. Humanity had chosen war over surrender, and they would see that choice through to its ultimate conclusion. The Nexus homeworld hung in space like a dark jewel, its bioorganic cities pulsing with otherworldly light. 6 months had passed since they had demanded Earth's surrender. Now humanity's fleet had brought the war to their doorstep. Commander Harrison stood on the bridge of the EDF Hyperion, watching tactical displays as Earth's armada emerged from quantum space. The fleet that had started as Earth's last line of defense had grown into a force that made even the mighty Nexus tremble. Over 2,000 ships, each carrying weapons that could reshape reality itself. Multiple defensive platforms detected, Captain Knight reported, his voice steady despite the tension. They've fortified their entire system. They knew we were coming. Of course they did. The Nexus had learned to fear human ingenuity. Their once mighty empire had watched helplessly as humanity pushed through their territory, system by system, turning their own technology against them. Project Oracle status, Harrison asked, turning to Dr. Reynolds' holographic projection. Their network is evolving, she replied, her image flickering with quantum static. They're trying to adapt, but we're still inside their systems. They can't coordinate their defenses effectively. The Nexus had launched a desperate final gambit. Their remaining fleets had consolidated around their homeworld, gathering every ship, every weapon, every soldier they had left. This was where they would make their final stand. All ships battle formations, Harrison commanded. Show them why demanding Earth's surrender was the last mistake their empire will ever make. The battle began with a display of power that would be remembered for centuries. The human fleet's graviton weapons tore through space, creating a web of distorted gravity that trapped the outer layer of Nexus defenses. Their mighty stations, each the size of a small moon, crumpled like paper in a hurricane. But the Nexus weren't finished. From the surface of their world, massive organic constructs rose into space, living weapons platforms that dwarfed anything seen before in the war. By the stars, Knight breathed, watching the monstrosities emerge. They've weaponized their entire biosphere. Harrison's jaw tightened. They're desperate. They know this is their last chance to stop us. All ships execute Protocol Omega. Dr. Reynolds, initiate the final phase of Project Oracle. The human fleet split into precise formations, moving with impossible coordination. Project Oracle had evolved beyond simply disrupting Nexus networks. It could now predict their tactics, anticipate their responses, and counter them before they happened. The space around the Nexus homeworld became a graveyard of broken ships and shattered dreams of empire. Human vessels phased through solid matter, emerged from artificial time dilation fields, and struck with weapons that ignored the conventional laws of physics. Their orbital defenses are collapsing, General Chen reported from Earth Command, his hologram flickering beside Harrison. But our casualties are mounting. We've lost 300 ships already. Harrison nodded grimly. Victory would come at a terrible price, but surrender had never been an option. Not since the day the Nexus had demanded it. Then something unexpected happened. Among the chaos of battle, new signals emerged from the planet below. Not military commands or desperate tactics, but something else entirely. Commander, Reynolds called out, her voice urgent. I'm detecting widespread communications from their civilian population. They're calling for their leadership to surrender. The Nexus civilization was breaking. The sight of their mightiest defenses falling, of human ships wielding impossible weapons, had shattered their belief in their own superiority. The empire that had threatened Earth with extinction was now facing its own. Through Project Oracle's connection, they could hear the chaos spreading through the Nexus command structure. Their rigid hierarchy, based on technological supremacy, was collapsing as they faced a species that had surpassed them in every way. This is Commander Harrison of the Earth Defense Force, he transmitted on all frequencies, his voice carrying across the battlefield. Your military is in ruins, your defenses have failed. Surrender now and humanity will show more mercy than you offered us. For several tense moments, the battle hung in balance. Then, one by one, the remaining Nexus ships began powering down their weapons. The massive bioorganic constructs retreated back to the surface. The empire that had threatened Earth with extinction was surrendering. The Nexus Supreme Commander's image appeared on the Hyperion's main screen. Gone was the arrogance, the certainty of superiority. In its place was something humans had never seen in their species before: humility. We demanded your surrender, the Supreme Commander said, its voice carrying the weight of defeat. Instead, you showed us why we should have feared you from the start: humanity's capacity for adaptation, for turning weakness into strength. We never stood a chance, did we? Harrison's response was measured but firm. You threatened our world with extinction if we didn't submit. You thought we would choose survival over freedom. That was your first and last mistake. Humanity doesn't surrender. We evolve, we adapt, we overcome. Remember that lesson well. The terms of surrender were transmitted across the Nexus network. Their empire would be dismantled. Their technology would be shared with other species. And they would never again threaten another civilization with extinction. As the human fleet secured the Nexus homeworld, Harrison received a transmission from Earth. The holographic projections of Earth's leaders appeared before him, their faces showing both pride and solemnity. The war is over, Harrison announced. Humanity didn't just survive, we've emerged as a force that will reshape the galaxy, not through conquest or demands of surrender, but through our unwavering spirit and determination. The cost had been high, thousands of ships lost, countless lives sacrificed, but Earth had proven something extraordinary. When faced with the choice between surrender and war, they had chosen war, and in doing so, had transformed themselves into something greater than anyone had imagined possible. As the Hyperion's quantum drives powered up for the return journey to Earth, Harrison looked one last time at the Nexus homeworld. They had come so far from that moment when alien ships had appeared above Earth, demanding surrender. The galaxy would never be the same. Send word to Earth, he commanded. Tell them that the species that demanded our surrender has surrendered to us instead, and let the galaxy know humanity will never bow to threats of extinction. We will always choose to fight, to adapt, and to overcome. The human fleet began its journey home, leaving behind a changed galaxy. The war that began with a demand for Earth's surrender had ended with humanity's emergence as a galactic power. It was a lesson the galaxy would never forget, never demand surrender from a species that would rather fight to the last than submit.